Let's hear what Rebecca has. I welcome you, Rebecca West, Rivoli Design.
Thank you so much for having me on the stage today. I am Rebecca West. I am the owner and interior designer at my company, Rivoli Design. And I'm a little bit different from other designers in that in some ways I don't care what your house looks like. All I care is that it's working for you. So I don't care if you ever buy a new sofa, or even if you really ever work with me. What I care about is that when you walk into your home, you're excited to be there. It relieves stress instead of causes stress, and that the people in it all feel like it's a home. That's the whole point of having a home. So what I want to talk about today is specifically that transition of when those kids leave the nest and that suddenly empty home and what you can do with that space now that you're in your third chapter. So see, the first chapter of your life, you're a kid, and you have no control over your space. You have no control over what happens. People shape the world around you. And you are just waiting for that moment when you can shape the world yourself. So then come the next 25 years, the second chapter of your life, and you're so excited because now you're going to make your mark on the world, right? You're going to shape the world, you're going to make it exactly the way you have known for the last 25 years it should have been. Unfortunately, what happens is all of a sudden, life starts moving really, really fast. You've got a marriage, and you've got career, and you've got kids. And next thing you know, you're not shaping anything. You are serving other people, you are giving, you are just completely offering up of yourself. And you sometimes stop and go, wait, when is it about me again? When is it about my health and my well-being? But the great news is, it is about your health and your well-being now. At that moment of being 45 and 50 and 55 and getting into that third chapter of your life where the kids leave the nest and you get to look at your life and go, okay, well, where was I? Where was I 25 years ago? And let's get started again. And there's 5 things that my clients need to do as they launch into this next chapter of their life. They get to create. They get to reevaluate their dreams. They get to re-establish themselves as humans in this world. They get to embrace play. And they also get to kick the kids out of the nest for real. Not for sort of, but for real. The first one is about creating. Most of my clients, when they ask me into their homes, already have a sense of what they want to create. They know, they have been waiting for this moment. They are going to paint, they're going to meditate, they're going to write a book, they're going to bake, they're going to host wine tastings in their house, they're going to learn to dance. And they've been waiting for this moment. And I just get to help support that. I get to help shape an environment that gets them to those goals. And that's lovely. I absolutely love it. I have one client who had waited her whole life to learn to ballroom dance. And that was actually very near and dear to me because before I was an interior designer, I taught ballroom dance. And so I was able to support her on that journey, encourage her towards it, because it's very scary to learn how to dance. But once she took it on, then she was so excited that she wanted to create a space in her living room where she could practice. So, chuck the sofa, it's not doing her what she needs. We brought in the dance space, we created a practice mirror, and that supported her goals and dreams. I also had a client who was far from retirement. She was deep in her career as an oncologist. But for years, she had needed a space where she could recharge, and the kids were in the house was full, there wasn't really a good space to carve out. But now that the kids were gone, she could literally, physically carve out a room just for meditation. And that meant that as she grew older, she could still continue to help her patients heal because she would have a place to really draw from that well, and draw deeply. So that's number 1, you get to create, and you get to create a space that helps you to create. Number 2, you get to reevaluate your dreams, and this is so important. Because you may have spent the last 20 years of your life saying to everybody you know, I am going to write the next great American novel. And now that it's time, you might not really feel like it. That's okay. And you don't have to apologize to anybody. And the worst thing that you could do is spend the next 25 years of your life following a dream that is not authentic to you anymore. So do not apologize, do not seek anybody's permission, figure out what your new dream is and embrace it and embark on that, not the old dream. So, if, for example, you have thought that you really want to start an at-home baking business. If that's still true, then a brand new marble-topped island in your brand new kitchen might be just the thing. But if you never see another measuring spoon again in your life and it's going to be too soon, don't spend that money on the kitchen. If you've developed this amazing nest egg of money to finally have that kitchen remodeled, spend it in the attic and create a writing nook, or go to Italy. Whatever is your dream. Number 3, you get to reestablish yourself in the world as a grown-up. Because now that the kids are out of the house, you get to create a space that is for grown-ups and for grown-up things like wine tastings and book clubs and garden clubs. And this is especially important for people who have spent some time where the house is a source of shame for them. And I've got a lot of clients in that situation. I've got a client who's waited 20 years to invite her sister over to her house because she did not feel it was an authentic reflection of who she was on the inside. What she felt when people came over to her house was that it said she was a failure as a mother, and as a homemaker, and as a person, and as a woman. Now, I know that's not true. We know that's not true. But I'm not here to judge how somebody feels. I'm not a therapist. I can't help them work through that. But what I can do is help them shift that environment so that it reflects who they are. And I'm happy to report that this particular woman now invites her sister over regularly. And the only thing she said to me afterwards was that she was so surprised by how little it took to change the environment into one that she was proud of. And that, of course, she wished she'd done it 2 decades earlier, but it's never too late. The 4th thing is that you get to embrace fun and play. There's a lot of things that can mean, and I'd love to go into them, but I can't because I don't have time. So I'm going to focus on grandparenting, because this is when kids can be fun, because you get to send them home. And so in your home, you can actually create a wonderful play environment for your grandkids. All those things that you thought you were going to build when your kids were this tall, only it turned out you were too tired and too broke to do that, well, now's your chance. And I have clients who have chosen to create entire playrooms complete with murals and built-in lofts and little hideaway nooks and reading circles, and they get to be that part of their grandkids' future and their childhood experience, and let the parents deal with all the stuff of parenting that they earned this place. They earned the fun person spot in their lives. The 5th thing is that you do have to kick those kids out of the nest. And what I mean by that is that you need to not be their storage unit. If you let them store their stuff in your house for the next decade, what are you telling them? It might be 2 things, 2 not so good things. Number 1, you might be telling them, you know what, it's okay to be selfish. You don't have to be generous, you don't have to be charitable. You can hold on to all that stuff you're not using, even though somebody else could be using it better than you are, because you got a convenient place to store it here at my house. Maybe that's the message you want to send, maybe not, something to think about. But the other thing is that if you're a storage unit, what does that say about you? Is all that your home is good for is storing somebody else's stuff? Does that maybe say, oh, I'm done, I'm good, I spent 50 years having a really awesome life, but I'm just done, I'll just sit here in my rocking chair? No, because you're not done. You are vital, you are vivacious, you have an entire story ahead of you, but you have to make sure that not only you are embracing that story and relaunching, but that also your kids recognize that when they get to be 45 and 50, that's an exciting time. And so is 60, and so is 70. They're not done. And you don't get to carry somebody else's baggage. If it's important to them, let them take it to their house, let them store it. So when you get to this place in your life, when you're ready for that empty nesting moment, you do want to take a moment and give it as much importance as when you brought the babies into the house. All that time you spent thinking about the perfect color for the nursery and just the right linens and whether or not that rocking chair was going to be the right rocking chair to rock him or her to sleep every night. Now it's another transition. It's just as important as that transition, the empty nest transition. So, create something new. Reevaluate your dreams. Make sure you're not going to be doing something just because you promised you would. Reestablish yourself as a grown-up in a grown-up world and get really excited about having a social life that doesn't necessarily involve the PTA. Play. Whether that's with your grandkids or without your grandkids, just play and really embrace fun. And kick the kids out so that you show them truly what it means to leave the nest, what it means to fly, and that will free you, of course, to fly as well. I would love, if you're in a place where your house is not feeling right, where it doesn't feel like it's supporting you, I would love to help you make that change. But honestly, it doesn't matter if I help you make that change. What matters is that you make the change. So have a friend help you, motivate yourself to do it, buy a book that very rarely works, that usually just turns into clutter, or hire me. But make a change that means that you are relaunching or launching for the first time for some people into the next chapter of your life. If you'd like to see what my work looks like, my portfolio is on the back table. It has befores and afters of the rooms that I have done. I love before and afters. I'm like a little crack addict when it comes to those, so that's what I provide. I also do color consultations. There's a card about that, my business card. And if you want to know when I'm hosting workshops and design events, I have a sign-up list that'll keep you on my news list so that I get to tell you when I'm doing, for example, tomorrow, a Kitchen 101 design class at the Finney Neighborhood Association. If you have any questions, please talk with me afterwards. I would love to hear about what's going on in your home and in your life. Thank you for listening.